Hello, my friends, family, esteemed colleagues. My friend Michael just told me, Darko, I'm looking through your videos and I don't see anywhere you mentioning sunburn and sunbathing and skin protection. So, well, I thought I did this, but we can return to this theme and discuss it a little bit. So, what our experts tell us about the sunburn. They say it's UV damage, that UV rays penetrate the skin and then create cellular damage, which causes the inflammation. And this is why skin becomes red, and then the damaged skin can cause the blisters, fluid-filled blisters, headaches, fever. Those are headaches and fever, increased toxicity of the blood. So let's discuss a little bit this thing. Of course, doctors recommend we should protect ourselves, wear clothing, or when we expose the skin to the sun, because of the UVs, we have to put sun protection, lotions with UV filters. And basically, we are being warned that sun creates damages on our skin, and this can cause blisters, and not only blisters, but cancer. So what is the truth here? How come that some people have they blister with the small blisters, some come up with big pleaks, and some people don't blister? If the sun would be so damaging and toxic, how come that people in Africa wear no clothing, they're exposed to the sun all the time, and they don't have skin cancer? Then we would say, well, they have protection, they have darker color, or black or dark color, which protects them from UVs. Well, how can pigmentation protect you so much from UVs? Well, the thing is that it is true that pigmentation will protect, causes a shielding effect, but immediately this tells you that UVs do not damage skin. So why the pleaks? When I was young, I remember going to beach, to the shore, usually on vacations, because I was living in Zagreb, which is capital of Croatia. It's inland. And for summer vacation, sometimes I would go to seashore, especially when I was older, then always that was a seashore, and spend as much time there swimming, spearfishing, fishing. And at the beginning, I would always sunburn, and I would get this blisters and the painful skin, and then they would peel off, and the skin, new skin underneath, would be very sensitive. It was always hassle. But after I have cleansed decently the subcutaneous tissue, I no longer demonstrate these pleaks. No more blisters. Well, I have completely different take on what is going on. I explained that when we are low on blood plasma, the body cannot cleanse correctly. So whatever it cannot cleanse because it has to save plasma, it's usually not very toxic, so it just shove it in subcutaneous tissue, or it remains in the cells or connective tissue, which means that subcutaneous tissue becomes more toxic than other part of our body. Now, what happens when we expose ourselves to the sunlight? It's not only the UVs, it is the heat. The heat increases tremendously. So the body has to cool down, and it cools down by relaxing blood vessels and also by sending more plasma, more lymph, or basically, yeah, it's a lymph that is sent through the topical parts of the skin. Why lymph? Because the blood vessels in the skin are very small, and closer to the surface you go, you don't even have blood vessels, you have basically lymphatic vessels. It's lymphatic territory. And this is always the most toxic territory, because every time you are sweating, you are pushing these toxins towards outside, pushing them out of the skin. Those toxins which accumulated in subcutaneous tissue. Now, this means that going from endothel towards epitel, from inner skin, the basal, to the top of the skin, toxicity increases. Now, when you are being heated by sun and cooling happens, more lymph flies or goes into the tissue to cool it off. You even start perspiring, and through perspiration you are cooling down the skin. And more cooling has to be done, the more lymph goes there, and all these toxins which are in this tissue with the lymph are being pushed through the skin, and these toxins, they are bad, so they poison the skin. And bubbles that create, well, this cannot evaporate, or the skin automatically protects itself also from outside by closing the skin, but the pores will have to stay open for sweating, for evaporation to cool the body, and toxins keep accumulating here, and you get these bubbles. More toxic you are, the bigger blisters you are going to have. Whenever you see someone on a beach and really get sunburned and you see these big bubbles, this is highly toxic body. If bubbles are smaller, it's less toxic body, but it's still toxic body. If you cleanse and there is no toxicity to talk about, then you are not going to have blisters. You are just going to go through this evaporation, and you are going to be basically cooling the body down. No big deal. Remember that when lot of toxicity is deposited in a subcutaneous tissue, and when more lymph goes there, it becomes toxic. It cannot return into the blood in the same speed it comes out because it's highly toxic. So it ends up creating these blisters. Same like women, for example, get cysts in ovaries or in breasts when they are in childbearing age, if their blood is very toxic. This is where the toxic liquid, it is going to be accumulating to separate it from a blood. So this way, the tissue, the ovaries and uterus or breasts, receive as clean blood as possible. Well, when a sunburn, when we are exposed and there's a lot of lymph going there, a lot of blood comes to cool it and lymph penetrates, well, lymph will cause these blisters. Those are like cysts, only they're outside on the skin. And they are not allowed to be reabsorbed because they are toxic. So they isolate. And the outer skin dies, then it bursts, the toxic liquid comes out, and underneath the fresh skin is growing. So, should we protect ourselves from the sunlight? Body will adapt. There are some people, some Nordic people, especially red-headed, who have a very, very white skin. And many of them have hard time to adjust to the sun because their production of pigment is slow. Of course, being exposed little by little, it is going to help, and eventually they'll be able to tolerate it. But if they are toxic, they'll be creating these bubbles, these pleaks, and they can also lead to scars because it's very toxic liquid that is coming out. Should they protect themselves? Well, all these, what is sunlight? Sunlight is created by frequencies that our body is programmed to show as light, forms of light, different wavelengths, different colors, all together mixed, they show white light. When you run it through prism, since refraction is going to be different because of the angle of the glass, you're going to be separating different wavelengths and you will see different colors. Each color is different wavelengths. But not every frequency is going to be represented as a color because it's all about program, how we are programmed. Now when we are going to go through upgrade, we are going to be more sophisticated. We will have more developed senses. We will see more colors. It's all about programming. And every wavelength is healthy. This is why I always recommend do not wear shades, because you are actually reflecting and absorbing certain light wavelengths, and they do not impact you. So it is healthy for us to absorb all the light. Same through eyes as through the skin. Now, if we start using lotions, sun lotions. We have two different types. One most popular one are absorbing lotions, which absorb wavelengths, but they are toxic. They also affect the skin negatively, and you can easily get skin cancer. Plus, again, we need this light. This is a frequency, it's healing frequency. You don't want to shelter yourself from it. You should actually expose yourself to it, but gradually, so you don't, you prepare your body so it can adjust. Now, there is one type which is reflectors, which do not absorb but reflect, like zinc creams. The white stuff you see sometimes people put on the nose or lips. Well, these are not that harmful. I used to have them when I suffered from herpes, but later as I became more toxic, no matter what I put on my lip, and even with a protection and with a big hat and a shade, I still would get herpes. Because again, it has nothing to do with Zumzula. It is all about toxicity. Once when I detox, I don't have to put any protection. Now I'm in tropics. I was a sailor. Once when I detoxified, no more problems. And no more problem with sunburn. Yes, I'm in the tropics, but I'm mostly indoors. And sometimes, you know, friends say, let's go out to the forest, let's go on a waterfall. So then I take my shirt off and I'm exposed to the sun maybe for a couple hours, and pow, I get sunburn. And it is, skin becomes warm because it gets inflamed, but it gets inflamed much less, and no bubbles, no pleaks, because no toxins are stored there. So I just feel it, a little bit reddish, I feel it a little bit on touch, one day, maybe day and a half, and gone. No peeling. So what we know about sunburn and UVs, it's a science. It has nothing to do with the truth. So we should not use absorptive lotions. Rather, cover yourself, expose yourself gradually, 10 minutes by 10 minutes every day. And within 3-4 days, you can be exposed as much as you want. So you just have to get there. You have to give time to the body to genetically adjust. It's always about the adjustment. And of course, more toxic you are, more toxic is your skin, the more problematic it is going to be, because it is not the UVs as much as it is the heat that forces cooling, stronger cooling, more blood, more lymph go there. And if the area is toxic, it becomes, liquid becomes toxic, lymph becomes toxic, cannot return back into the blood circulation, and very often comes out of the body in the form of these toxic plagues. Now, you know, I'm looking here at our experts, what they say about this, that sun is going to create the wrinkles. Well, body is using liquid plasma to cool it down. You become low on plasma quicker, you dehydrate the cells of the skin quicker, and you are going to have results of it in the form of wrinkles. It is difficult to prevent unless you really eat absolutely correctly and hydrate correctly. As far as skin cancer goes, majority skin cancer that I have seen were on a face below hairline, so mostly in a shadow, in a shade. Also with ladies that had them, they always wear hats and they still have always this little skin cancers growing. They can be on a body which is covered. So it's not related to the sun, although the skin toxicity of the epithelial outer skin increases when toxins are being drawn out because of the stronger blood circulation and cooling of the skin. Now, because more lymph goes in to cool this area, then of course some of the lymph will return into the blood, making the blood more toxic, which causes the fever and the headache. So if you have a headache when you are sunbathing, well, this is because toxins came into your blood from the skin, increase the blood toxicity, which creates headache, can cause nausea again because you will start cleansing through the mucosal tissue. It can even create fever, not because the skin is hot, because of increased blood toxicity, as some of the toxic lymph return into the blood, increased blood toxicity, and increased temperature is one of the symptoms of increased toxic blood, toxicity in the blood. Now, you can also experience muscle pain and even joint pain if the blood toxicity increases higher. So one benefit of sunburn is that most of the toxins are going to be in a form of these bubbles on the skin. This is all toxic stuff that has to come out of the body. So what comes out this way doesn't have to go through the blood and detox and causing you headaches and fever and nausea. Just goes simply out like a cupping, pop, 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 like a leeches taking it out. So it's not bad for you, only it's uncomfortable, and it's a symptom of toxic skin. Skin is not equally toxic everywhere. It all depends on where more blood circulation was going on. Usually face is always exposed, more heat comes on it, so it always sweats a little bit more. You always have more toxic tissue in the skin, in the face, head. This is why hair falls off. And of course, wherever you have a skin overlaps, like, you know, underarms, ladies under breast, when thighs rub together, crotch, all this usually perspires more because of toxic body, smells bad, and even when temperature increases, you are going to sweat there more and more toxic stuff is going to happen. So this understanding correctly what is happening allows us to actually realize, oh, how is headache related to a sunlight? Well, in this way. fever in this way. It is not that body heated up from the skin and now has internal fever. It doesn't happen this way. Skin may be hot because it gets heated up by the sun, but then from underneath cools down by the lymph, so the heat doesn't penetrate deep in the body. And then through evaporation, it cools off the skin. But the toxicity that is being released, and some of it comes out, some of it goes into the blood, increases blood toxicity, and that's how you get it there. I don't recommend taking any lotions. It was the old-fashioned stuff in Europe was to take olive oil and just moisturize your skin with olive oil. And coconut oil is also good for this purpose. Simply as a moisturizer. It will not protect you from UVs and from blistering and burning your skin. So you have to moderately expose yourself in the course of several days, and then you'll be able to withstand the sunlight without any problems as your body adjusts. So if you're planning to go on vacation, start exposing your skin to sunlight a week or two before you go on vacation. So this way, when you get to vacation, you can rip your shirt off and enjoy the sun. Now, are there any complications in this? No, there are no complications. This is what happens. You don't get cancer because of sunlight. You get cancer because of poison stuff in your body that you accepted through the food. And always remember the emotional factor. It's all frequency related, and depending on a frequency, every part of the body, including different parts of the skin, will resonate with different frequencies. So if you happen to have a cancer, which is a drop of voltage below 0.7 volts, which causes proliferation. So if you develop skin cancer in some part of the body, then you can go through the New German medicine, Dr. Hammer's work, and check which part of the body, which part of the skin is related to what emotions, to see what emotion is causing this problem. Now, very often you know exactly what bothers you in life and what aggravates you and what you are thinking about most of the time. Well, this is the emotion that is causing it. So I believe that this is basically it. I don't put any lotion on me. I don't even put coconut oil, because you will notice that cholesterol, your skin becomes oily. And let's say when I was driving motorcycle and short sleeves and it's hot, then I start having so much cholesterol on my exposed skin that when I was taking a shower and with my wife's coconut soap, which is very good degreaser, I would easily wash off and degrease partially my body. But when it came to the exposed parts of the skin, I had to use triple time wash to get the layers out if I wanted to. I usually just briefly take a soap superficially, but this was always heavier and oily and greasy, because body is going to adjust itself. You don't have to put anything on it. It'll do the job, but then don't you work against it by degreasing your skin. You have to leave the cholesterol out. That's your protection. I believe that that's as much as we can say about this. If you have tags and stuff, usually this also happens when you are sweating more. Again, why? Because it's all how body isolate toxins. Once when you eliminate toxins or reduce toxic load on your skin, all these tags vanish. They fall off. So if you have tags, if you have brown spots, stop eating carbohydrates and allow your skin to heal. Cleanse it out, because glycation of sugar under skin and influence of heat turns brown spot. So either don't expose your skin to the sun or don't eat carbohydrates and you'll be fine. If you already have brown spots, then freckles, stop eating carbohydrates, cleanse, and you will see them getting lighter, 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 and they will go away. Okay, so thank you for listening. Till next time, next question. God bless you. Namaste. Love you all.